You think you better hurry up? If he get ready to start.
It was Pastor who?
I'm gonna wait. I hope so. Are we gonna be taking like a break or intermission? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We are super excited that each and every one of you came out tonight. My name is Bronson Williams. We have a great time learning about what each candidate will talk about as they're hoping to represent you or continue to represent the citizens here in Pitt County. What I want to do right now is ask Pastor Forbes to come up and start us out with a prayer this afternoon.
Amen. God bless everyone. Amen. We want to pray now. Father, we thank you that you bless each and every candidate, Lord. Let us be able to hear and discern what's in their heart, Lord God, and what they are trying to communicate to each and every one of us. Lord, we thank you, God, that this will be a success, that people will be able to express themselves clearly. We'll be able to receive what they express. And we thank you for this beautiful forum. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Again, certainly excited to be here on tonight. We understand the commitments that candidates will make when serving in their various capacities for the citizens in this great community. I want to remind people that tonight is a nonpartisan, friendly forum It's not a debate event. They will not tolerate any character attacks from candidates to candidates, nor audience to candidates, or moderator to candidates, or from candidates to moderators. There's no campaign signs, banners inside the forum room, and all such activities may be done in the lobby or outdoors, but not in this actual room. The timekeeper will be seated in the front, directly in front of the candidates to set time on a digital clock you'll see there. If the candidate is in the middle of a sentence, when the time is buzzed, they will be allowed to complete their sentence. If the candidates continue to speak past their time, the moderator will bring it back to order. Remember that tonight's the format will be an order of questions from left to right, then right to left, 1 minute time introduction from left to right from each candidate on the platform, questions from the audience if applicable as specified, for a specific candidate. Ushers will collect questions and proofread for eligibility before handing the question to the moderator. Moderators will screen and if time permits, will ask the questions. If there are no questions from the audience, the moderator will ask their own prepared questions. 2 minutes time for response from each candidate, as well as a 1 minute closing remarks from each candidate as well. And so we will begin tonight by first introducing our moderators this evening as well, which is Reverend Cunningham, as well as Renee Boston Hill, Mr. Vernon Garrison as well, who is a national certified mediator. And so, and our timekeeper is Ms. Boyd Jackson. So we thank all of you all as well for your commitment tonight to ensuring that people in this area know what each candidate is standing for and holding them responsible going forward in your hands at this time. For the candidates, for we're going with the well, I think we have the
Miss Sarah Beth for Rhodes will take the stand.
come on, yeah, come on up. I think y'all about to say your mic might not be on.
Testing.
Okay.
Good evening. How are you doing? That's good. I'm glad you're here joining us this evening. We just have a couple of questions for you, but we'd like to give you 1 minute for an opening statement.
I'm Sarah Beth Fulford Rhodes. I've served as your elected board since 2007. Prior to that, I practiced law for 16 and a half years here in Pitt County. I'm a Pitt County native and a strong supporter of Pitt Community College, so I'm proud to be here. I'm on campus where I taught for some time, and I am running for re-election, and I am fortunate and blessed to be unopposed.
That's great. That's great.
But I still appreciate everyone's vote.
Yes, I'm sure you would. Okay, so the first question that I have for you, we know that a big part of your task is administering oaths. Is that correct? Administering oaths? Is that what you do in your normal daily?
It's something I do. It's not a large part of what I do.
Okay, so that brings us to the next question. So what aspects of your job do you find most fulfilling?
I love working with the people of Pitt County who come in our office. While I have 4 divisions, criminal, civil, and estates and bookkeeping cashiers, my office is in the estates division, so I get to interact a lot with persons who have lost loved ones, and they're coming in after losing the loved one, and they just need guidance. They don't understand the terminology. We can't give legal advice, even though I'm a licensed attorney, but I enjoy helping people, whether they're coming in for a decedent's estate, maybe their grandmother has got dementia and does not have powers of attorney and they need a guardianship. I certainly help when I'm out and about in the courthouse, pointing people to the right direction. So I get to help people, and it's very fulfilling.
Okay, I know the clerk of court has many responsibilities. I don't know much about your office or whether the systems are automated or whether they have been made electronic, but what suggestions do you have as far as changes or enhancements that could better your job as far as dealing with the public?
Well, just to clarify, we are a unified court system, so we have the same computer programs and things in Pitt County as they have in Wake and Terrell. The judicial branch, we're under the judicial branch of government, and we're moving towards e-courts. It's going to be a year or more before our county goes electronic. That would be for electronic filing. And I hope when we do that judicial branch, I do not have a budget, so I can't decide what's in my office versus maybe someone else in their office. Everything comes from the state. But I do hope the state will make provisions in this e-court system for people who do not have computers, so they can still file things or maybe use a computer in our office.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now you can make your closing statement. You can talk about your priorities or anything that you find that would be of interest to us.
Okay. I think one thing too, I would like to just point out, and we kept our office open during the pandemic, but we learned to serve people in different ways, whether it was emails, telephones, or if they didn't feel comfortable coming in. We tried to serve them in different ways, and we're still doing that. Sometimes it's just helpful to send a form by email, and they can fill it out before they come in. I will also tell you during the COVID in 21 and 22, we still were audited by the state auditors because we hold public funds and by internal audits. My last two internal audits in 18 and 21 were 100%. I think I'm the only county in the state that has had back-to-back. And internal audits that have been 100%. Then in our state audits, we've only had 3, and we had one this year, and it was 100%. So our team is working well together. It's not just me; we are a team. So if you see our deputy and assistant clerks out there, please thank them. They worked very hard during COVID. We were open when courts were shut. During COVID and in the last couple of years, we've worked with District Attorney Farkas, the judges and other people in the courthouse to do expunction clinics, one with Campbell Law School. My daughter just graduated and passed the bar next week.
Oh, right, that's good.
God bless you. We also helped with one with the Portia Bride and the Second Chance Alliance. So we do things to work in the community, and we'll still be doing that in the years ahead. I think my experience in over 15 years, helped us get through the pandemic. As the sheriff can tell you, I'm there morning, noon, night, day, Saturday, Sunday if need to, and my staff has been too. So if you do see them, please thank them. We have had a lot going on just in trying to learn to help people and serve people during the pandemic. But it's brought some new things like doing more things on computers or emailing and talking on the phone with people just if they're not comfortable coming in, and we'll continue to do that. So if anyone has a question about our office, I'm always available. And I just have enjoyed serving the public. I go home at night and feel like I help somebody in some way. Because I can't give legal advice, I can't do it for them. But I enjoy helping the citizens of Pitt County, and I hope they found our office friendly and helpful to the extent the law provides. And I just appreciate your faith and support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions at this time. Does anybody?
Thank you very much.
Thank you indeed. And we also know that we appreciate you. We also know that the clerk of court is a judge of probate. So yeah, estates and all that good stuff. And so you definitely help a lot of people out, and especially at a time where they may not know what they need to do. So we appreciate what the clerks do. Understanding also that clerk of court North Carolina is one of the offices in our state that hasn't changed their powers and authority since the constitution of our state. So it goes back many years of what your responsibilities are across the state. And you're one of the 100 people in our state. So we certainly appreciate all that you do. We want to move down to our Board of Education. Is that our Board of Education? Thank you again, Madam Clerk, to Miss Amy Cole. And our School Board District 2.
Jennifer Hudson
Okay.
and Kelly T. Weaver. If those three would take the stage. Thank you, gentle ladies. for the pleasure to have you come before the community. We do appreciate it. We're going to start out with a 1-minute introduction, allow you to introduce yourself and what district you are running in. We're going to start from left to right.
So I'm Jennifer Hudson. I am running for Pitt County Board of Education District 5. And I am a mother of 3 Pitt County school kids. One just graduated in May and she's now a four-cat family. So Pitt County Schools has been very good to my children. We have had wonderful experiences. And I think as an educator, I've taught in education my entire life. I worked in higher education, but I've also volunteered in pre-K through 12th grade. I have a strong appreciation for what our public school system is trying to do, and that is to serve the needs of all our children and all our families. My passion, my commitment, my whole career has been about service. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, so I lean into that. I want to see our families recover from the pandemic. I want to see our communities thrive. I want to see our children safe. And I want to see them feel the love and strength of what we can provide as a family. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelly Bieber. I'm running for District 7 of the Pitt County Board of Education. I am a product of Pitt County Schools, and my children currently attend Pitt County Schools. I have loved our experience there. I've learned so much since I've been able to be a part of our PTA and our school improvement team. I am hearing from teachers, visiting schools, and learning about what's actually happening in our schools, in our community, and what the needs are for our children. I believe that every single child deserves everything to be successful. And I am also, hi, thank you. I am also a mental health provider in higher ed, so I'm able to see how our public schools impact our children from preschool all the way up to higher ed in my professional experience as well. And I believe that this is about all of our kids as well, not just about mine.
Hi, my name is Amy Cole, and I am running for re-election for Board of Education District 2. I am a mother of 2 boys in the Pitt County school system. I am not a product of Pitt County, unfortunately. I moved here in 1998 to go to ECU, and I've never left, so I've been here for quite a few years. I am in my 20th year here teaching at Pitt Community College. This is my home, so everybody welcome. I love it here. It's great. And we serve a lot of our students from Pitt County schools. I teach on average about 6 classes a semester, and out of the 120 students I teach, I say about 80 to 90 are high school students. So I'm with them every day. And of course, I taught high school for 5 years before moving on to come here as a math instructor here at Pitt. I'm running for re-election because these kids are my passion, and all the kids are my passion, not just my own. So I'm hoping that we can continue some of the really good things that we're doing.
Thank you very much. Our first question goes to you, and you will have 2 minutes to respond. Candidate Cole, we need to be competitive in our surrounding counties in order to attract highly qualified teachers, especially in a time where there's a teacher shortage. Could you list a few specific practical things we should do to attract teachers?
I'm so glad I got this question. This is my baby right here. So we have been working on increasing teacher supplements every year. That's one of the things the board has been is pushing. One of our goals as a board is to get the teacher supplements to match our surrounding counties. Because one of the things that we notice is we're losing really qualified teachers when we have a teaching college right here in the county to surrounding counties because we don't have the same supplements that they have. You know, unfortunately, we can't control the state pay. That's the state scale, but we can do things here like supplements and bonuses and all the things that we've been trying to do every year to help bring them to a better and more competitive salary. And of course, just being supportive of the teachers, not just about the salary, but just being supportive and making sure they have the resources they need to be successful. Because I can tell you firsthand, it is really tough. So to be there, to give them the things they need for their students, where they're not paying for stuff out of their own pockets, and just being supportive as a parent as well of your child's teachers. If they need things, bring them to them, help them with their, I know a lot of them now do like this Amazon wish list, if you can help support those, anything that you can do to help these teachers, because they need it. They need all the support they can get. I really encourage you as parents, if you have kids in the public schools, to do that as well. But I think the main thing is just continuing to work on increasing those supplements every year. And we've been doing that the past 3 years. So we're just going to keep on trucking.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next question would be for Ms. Tracy Everett.
Kelly Weaver.
Kelly Weaver. I'm sorry.
Everything has become politicized. What role does party play?
Can you repeat that last part?
Everything has become politicized. What role does party play?
This is about our children. It is not about a political party at all. I think every single person in this room, and I believe with all my heart, every single person that's running for the Board of Education has that same goal of making sure that our children are taken care of. We may have different ideas about what that looks like, but I have no doubt that that is everyone's passion and why we're all here. We all have different ideas. That's what makes our country and our community so beautiful, is that we have so much diversity and so many ideas, and that we can come together and work together. Our children are coming from different experiences and different backgrounds, and being able to bring all of that together to create a beautiful, supportive and safe environment for our kids to learn. It's going to take all of us working together. So it's not about a specific political party. It is about all of us focusing on our kids, getting to know our kids and what they need and what they're experiencing, meeting them where they are, and being part of what's going on in their life. It's not about politics. It is. It's about our kids, and it's about us being able to come together to talk to our kids about what they need, talk to our teachers about what they need, and really stay focused on what's most important. There's a lot of noise in our world in a lot of areas. And it's all very important things, but when it comes down to where we need to focus, we've got to make sure that our number one priority stays our number one priority, and that's the kids. So as long as that's being focused on, I think that we as a community can come together from all sorts of different political parties and ideologies and beliefs and make a great, safe environment for our kids to be able to learn and succeed.
All right. Now, the next question is for Ms. Jennifer Hudson. All right. How should the school board go about finding out and knowing what the parents in the community in their district are thinking?
Oh, I got the best question. I'm sorry, you guys. So parent is a huge topic. And for years now, one of the things that I've been trying to do is to get to areas within our community, neighborhoods that are oftentimes under-recognized and don't oftentimes have a voice in talking to parents about what they need. Not every parent has the time or the privilege to go before the school board and talk about what's on their minds. We have to meet them where they're at. So one of the things that I would like to see us do is to have more forums in different neighborhoods throughout Pitt County where we go to them. We go to the parents and we listen to what they have to say. I've gotten lots of calls from parents since I've put in my candidacy to run. It has been very comforting to know that they feel like they can reach out, and that's what I want. I want a school board that has parents knowing they can reach out, and not just on one Monday night a month, but I want us to be present and available, show up at the schools, show up at sporting events, be in places where we can have those casual conversations with people, but they can share with us some of their deepest concerns. Canvassing has been a wonderful opportunity for me to do that. I've had a chance to talk to parents who have tearfully expressed concerns about bullying, about school safety, about academic performance. I've also had wonderful conversations with parents that are celebrating the great things in our schools, the teachers, the resources, the school spirit that they feel returning after the pandemic. So parent engagement is a top priority. We have to go to them. We have to be in their spaces, and we just have to listen so we can come together to form some really great policies and get our kids through one of the toughest times in our history.
All right, we have one more round of questioning for you, ladies, and then we'll have closing remarks. Ms. Amy Cole. Do you believe that the school board members should be involved in day-to-day administrative decisions of the school district, or would you prefer to be involved in policy decision, leaving management to managers?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Okay, so I feel like as a board, we are a little bit involved in both. Like we're not down to the every day-to-day that you would see at each individual school. Obviously, we're not, there's 9 of us across the whole district. It's kind of impossible to be there for the day-to-day. But we do have where we make policies. We have a policy committee that is basically it's a portion of the board, and that is totally voluntary. So, all the members could be part of the policy committee if they so choose. But we have the policy committee where we review policies, and we create policies if we need to. But most time it's about reviewing them. If there's something that's brought up that comes to our attention, then we will definitely, make sure we look at that policy. We have our attorney there, and they rewrite the policies if they need to. And then we have to go through readings where even if you're not on the policy committee, all the people on the board have to approve them. So we go through a first, a second, I think a third reading as well, or is it just a second reading? Just two. But they have to approve that. And then if there's any, non-approval, then we go back and we review the policy again. So we'll meet about that. But that's on the policy side of it. As far as the day-to-day, we leave a lot of that to our superintendent and our principals. As far as the breakdown of the individual schools, your first point of contact as a parent should be your child's teacher. And then if that's not addressed, then it should be the principal. And then from there, it should go to the superintendent. We're kind of like the last line of defense. If you haven't met any of those and you're not satisfied with the results that you've gotten there, we're kind of like that last line of defense. So the day-to-day, we don't handle a lot of that. If something gets brought to our attention, then we will find out the person who handles that issue, and then we will bring that issue to them, and then usually we'll follow up if it was brought to us personally.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Kelly Weaver, my question to you is, what experience will you bring to the school board that makes you best qualified?
Thank you for that question. I am a mom of kids in Pitt County schools, and I think that being present in the school is one thing that I have that has showing up has taught me a lot. I've gone to the school, volunteered there, and I think that has shown me more than just talking. Than talking, being there and seeing what's going on. I'm also a member of our school improvement team. So a school improvement team is at every single school, and it is a team with the administrators, teachers from every grade, Encore teachers, as well as a parent rep. And I've been the parent rep on that on the school improvement team at my school for the past year and a half, and through COVID. So I've learned a lot about what goes on with our teachers on a day-to-day basis, and the problems and concerns that they have in the classroom each day. We meet monthly. I'm also on the PTA, and I am a graduate of the Parent Engagement Program through Parents for Public Schools of Pitt County, which is a local nonprofit organization that really teaches parents how to be engaged in their child's education from a higher level. We learned about the role of school boards, funding, policies, some of the big picture items, as well as what's happening in our schools. And we create a leadership project of how to impact our schools. So I've been able to connect with our community, with my school, with my children's teachers. And I am a mental health provider. So I can see things very systemically and how we all impact everyone, not just at my school, but how we have to be a school system. We can't be individual schools, but we are all in this together as a team. And I see how systemically we have to work together.
Thank you very much, ladies. You will now have 1 minute for closing remarks. And we will go start with you, Ms. Hudson.
Okay, great. So, somebody asked me the other day why I decided to run for school board. And I'll be honest with you, when I first thought about it, I wasn't sure I was the right person for the job. I see our school board as having such an awesome responsibility in representing the needs and the interests of a very, very diverse group of kids. And I really wrestled with it. I talked to a lot of teachers and friends, and even, looked to see if there could be somebody else in the district that I thought was going to be good for the job. And people kept coming back and encouraging me in a way that I realized maybe it's not about who's the best, but who's willing to do their best. And maybe it's about, being an ally, being somebody who's willing to listen to different points of view, because that's what a democracy is that we're all going to have different points of view, and somewhere we're going to come together to make something meaningful. And I'm looking forward to being able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So before my oldest ever started school, I was reading a book about a mom who was looking for schools to enroll their child in as they were moving to a new community. And when she was visiting schools, one of the things that she noted in her memoir was that if it's not good enough for my child, then why am I okay with it for any child? And that stuck with me for going on 8 years now. And that is what drives me every day, is that we have to make sure that our schools are good enough for every single child, even more than good enough. They deserve everything to be successful, because our children, every single child matters. And the more I talk about it and the more people I meet, the more schools I visit, the more the depth of my passion and commitment grows. No matter what happens, I'm going to keep serving our schools, because that's what matters to me, and it's not going to stop mattering to me.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate it, gentle ladies. Oh, one more. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I think I have probably one of the toughest battles, because I'm running for re-election. So when you're running for re-election, they look at what you've done in the past. And one of the things about what I stand for is just making sure that all the children are covered, no matter what we're looking at, whether it's through a budget, whether it's through equity, whatever lens we're looking at, to make sure every child is accounted for. And that's been one of my biggest things. I don't like when people say, my district, my school, my this, my that. It's about the entire county. So, and that's the way it always should be. And I hope that I can continue that. It's been a tough 4 years through the pandemic and everything else. And I feel like I have something to bring, and I feel like my time really was cut short with that. So I hope that we can continue with that and just push forward with a longer term.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Indeed. We're going to continue with our school board conversation with District 1. So we'll continue our school board conversation with those candidates that's running in District 1 as well. They'll make their way to the stage here as well. Understanding that our school board is one of the few boards that have a responsibility but don't have taxation authority. So they certainly have to rely on other agencies and boards to bring the money, whether it's the federal government, the state government, or our local government. Of course, donations as well. So they're always committed to having partners in the community to donating to the further advancement of our children, as well as we wait for Kenneth Jones and Tracy Everett Lindsay. Is that right? Perfect. All right. And here's the moderator.
Greetings, gentleman and gentle lady. You will have now 1 minute for a introduction remark. And we will start to our left. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to say thank you for providing this opportunity. I always appreciate it when we have forums so people can come and be informed voters when we get to our election. So I appreciate the opportunity. My name is Tracy Everett Lenz. I am currently on the board in District 1. And to just let you know a little bit about me, I'm finishing out my first 4-year term on the board. I've served as vice chair for 1 year, and I'm currently serving on the chair for the policy committee. I want people to know that I'm committed. I've attended every single board meeting, every single work session. I frequently participate with hearings, and I serve on the chair. So I'm very engaged and involved in the process. I am a product of Pitt County Schools. I attended a lot of rural schools here in Pitt County. I started out in Belvoir, and then I went on to Falkland Elementary and Farmville Middle, and graduated from Farmville Central. Okay, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Before I start, I want to give honor to God, who's the head of my life, and the Son of the Lord Jesus Christ. My name is Kenneth Jones. I'm running for school board because I feel that we should have some changes in there that need to be attended to. First of all, I see that a lot of parents, I talk to a lot of them, would like to have more input in the education system, especially in the area of curriculum. That's one of the reasons why I'm running. I'm originally from New York City. I work with the school as a as a teacher's aide. I work in the middle school, y'all call that now, from 7th grade to and 6th graders. And I tell you something, those kids are like sponges. They want to learn. And if we teaching the right things.
You can finish your sentence,
I gotta
sir.
finish it?
Yes, sir.
If we teach the right things, our children will grow, continuously. I've seen too many miracles in children. I work with children that are at risk of losing their mental state, autistic children, all of those types.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so the question I have for you, which I give to everybody, is everything has to come to the size. What role should party play in our school system?
What part of the role will I play?
Your party.
Well, my background basically covers not only working with children. I had my own nursery when I was in New York, but coming down here, it's been 18 years at the end of this month. I see a lot of things, and one of the things I want to add is the fact that I see our children, everybody can't go to college, number one. So I was thinking about, one, I would like to see a second language from kindergarten.
Proceed.
Oh, okay.
Proceed.
I'm from kindergarten to the 12th grade, so we need to be bilingual because of our changing of our government and our country. That's one. The other part, I'd like to see more skilled trades into our schools, especially in the area of construction. But I like all skilled trades, okay? Then I would love to go even further than that if it's allowed. I would like to see apprenticeship program from the 11th to the 12th. That's something that I'm accustomed to. I did it in New York. It was very successful. I made a lot of people money, over $2 million in 1 month. One of the things I want to see also the school to grow and keep let's say when you get a contract, we can use that same talent from our education system and also use the talent there to grow other students, because everybody can't go to college. But if you take a trade and use it properly, not only you will make a living out of it, you can also go to college and you can also become that entrepreneur and have your own business. And this is my goals.
Thank you very much, sir. Miss Tracy Everett Lenz, what's your position in regards to effective education, character education, and the teaching of values in schools, such as self-esteem, feelings, and of course, values? What's your perception of that?
Well, I will say that we've had character education for a number of years in the school system. I think a lot of it is just basic social emotional skills that every child and every adult needs to be to have in their repertoire to be successful with interacting and cooperating with other individuals and being engaged. So that's gone on for a long time. We've definitely had some more targeted efforts to address social emotional learning. That is a huge need right now. I think if we didn't recognize it before, we definitely should now, given the pandemic. We've just had a lot of time with kids at home, not being able to socialize and not being able to have those typical interactions for all ages. And so there's a great need out there regarding social emotional learning. And that is something that we have targeted and planned in the school system. And we also do have a mental health plan that had to be submitted to the state. So we have a very targeted plan overall to address those things.
Thank you.
What experience, Mr. Jones, will you bring to the school board that would make you the best qualified?
I'm sorry, I can't hardly hear you.
What experience will you bring to the school board that makes you best qualified?
Well, one of the things that I feel comfortable with is bringing my background, in not only in construction, but I was a newspaper reporter, and some of the skills that I would like to bring to the Board of Education or to the school. I think that there's a wide variety of courses that need to be included, okay? Now, I feel that getting a child ready for the world of work, there's the reading, writing, and arithmetic should be done even more so. But there's a lot of children that, like you say, lost during the pandemic, that they need to be tutored. We need to have tutoring programs. And I'm working on a program now on tutoring and also in the area of construction. I'm working with other people on the outside. They saw what I could do and what I wanted to do, and they said that they would work with me. So I have electricians. I'm trying to get some other candidates to work with me. I'm working with a group called the Joshua Generational Camp. These are kids that are at risk in our community, and a lot of the things they're not getting, we do tutoring. So that's some of the things that I would like to see the Board of Education to employ, so we could have more of our children graduating instead of 8th grade, leaving from 12th grade. And I'm looking at a lot of the kids that are not getting, they're not reading because of home problems at home, okay? I'm doing that study because a lot of the kids live in one family, one adult, all right? Is a mother or a father, whoever's there. But a child needs to grow up in a home that has two families, two parents in there. And that parent should be able to nurture that child even while he's going or she's going to school.
Candidate Tracy Everett-Lenz, explain how you will address the student learning gaps and other needs, and actually name one or two practical learning opportunities you would use.
Okay. Well, some people may not be aware that we already do have some systems in place and some layers and tiers of support that are in our school system now. It's called multi-tier system of support, which includes tier 1, 2, and 3. Tier 1 is core instruction, and so we look at that instructionally as well. And if you're not meeting basically the 80% mark, where 80% of your kids are responding well to that, that kind of lets you know that you need to go in and address the core instruction that's going on in the classroom and strengthen that. And then we have tier 2 and 3, which gets more at a group level intervention for academic needs or behavioral. And then you go on to tier 3, where it gets more intense to look at individualized students. So that is a system that we have in place ongoing right now. We also have tutoring programtutoring.com, I believe, that we employed this past year as an additional source where anybody can go and access that as well. We continue to have specialists, particularly even at the high school. That's been something that's happened recently where we have reading specialists, because we all know that we have students that go along through the grade levels and they're really not considered to be literate with reading, and it creates a lot of issues for those students to be successful. So we have literacy specialists that we have employed in our high school. I think we just need to continue on and be targeted in what we're doing. I know our instructional staff in Pitt County is very strong. We just had a presentation about how the standard aligned, here's the lesson, here's how you can assess. It's really a great support for our teachers to have that in their tool belt, so to speak, to become stronger teachers and have some guidance with that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now we will have 1 minute for closing remarks, starting with you, sir.
Yes, I would like to see schools come up a little bit more. I'm looking at South Greenville Elementary, had an F rating. And I feel that we need to have more tutoring for those types of children that's behind. I would like to see some more growth there and be able to elevate. I would like to see Pitt County schools grow a little bit more. I'm really not happy with what's going on, that these kids are graduating with an 8th grade reading from 12th grade, and you can't get a job with that. So that's what I would like to see come to pass. And it needs to happen yesterday.
Thank you.
Okay. I'd just like to emphasize that a little bit more about myself. I am coming also from perspective of a parent. I do have 3 kids in the school system, so I'm very invested in my children's education. I want everyone else to be successful as well. We're all in this together. I'm also coming from a perspective of being a school psychologist and working in a public education system now for my 25th year. So it comes very natural to me to be inclusive and to make sure to take consideration of all children. I work with children that have disabilities. I've worked with preschool, elementary, middle, high, alternative, early college. They come from all backgrounds, and I want to make sure that everyone is successful. It's kind of a natural thing for me to voice and advocate for students. That's what I do every day, and I really want to continue to have that opportunity as a school board member to advocate and voice for our children in Pitt County schools.
Well, candidates, thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We thank again each and every one of you all for participating tonight. And remember that education is the incubator to economic development. And we do hope that people who are on school boards are using common sense versus party. And that's what it's about. Children are the key when it comes to public education. As we move forward, move along with our program on tonight, we're going to our U.S. Senate race as well. We have Mr. Shannon Bray here tonight.
As the candidate comes up and takes the seat, I'd like to recognize another candidate of the Pitt County Board of Education. District 1 candidate Gary Davis is in attendance this evening, and just wanted to recognize that he is here.
That's right, but that Mr. Gary Davis. So it looks like Mr. Bray is not here. So we'll go with North Carolina Senate House District 9. Is that candidate here tonight? Brian?
Farkas.
He stepped out, okay. Okay. And so as we wait for just a second, I want to absolutely thank Awesome Radio for their commitment to being sure that people are aware of what's happening in the community, to ensure that they have public forums such as this so that people are educated. It's so important that people go to the polls knowing what people are about, what they're standing for, because that's the only way you can hold people accountable at the end of the day. And not only do Awesome Radio participate or facilitate things such as this, but their programming provides an excellent opportunity to learn a lot of what's going on from member of people in the community who are part of that as well. And so now we're going to our NC House race, District 9. The sheriff said, "Get in here."
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I apologize about that, folks. A constituent. Thank you.
Good evening, good evening. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing well. Thank
I'm
you.
glad you made it back to the
Sorry
forum.
about take one phone call.
Okay. You have 1 minute for your opening statement, so.
Great. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Representative Brian Farkas. I serve Pitt County's 9th District in the North Carolina House of Representatives. I'm in my first term. For those who don't know, District 9 moving forward on January 1st will be Southern Pitt County, Grifton, Ayden, Winterville, and Greenville. And what's really exciting about that is I grew up right in the middle of this. I am a proud product of Pitt County schools, North Carolina universities, and I am really excited about the people-powered campaign that we won the first time around and delivered some real results as promised for our area. We have delivered a lot. $320 million in direct investment for Pitt County was secured in the first budget I've ever been able to vote on because I have a reputation and a commitment to working with Democrats and Republicans across the aisle to do what is best for our area and my hometown. I look forward to your questions. I'm coming up on the line there, and appreciate you all creating this forum tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, well, I guess my first question, I realize that you have been in an ongoing battle to end gerrymandering. And I just wanted you to describe the steps you have taken and address what else can be done to ensure fairer elections.
Absolutely. This is something I'm very passionate about. And the first thing I'll say is both parties in North Carolina historically are guilty of gerrymandering. Democrats did it for many decades, and Republicans over the last few years and the last 2 decades have done the same. It's wrong. Politicians should not be in the business of drawing their own job descriptions and choosing their voters. It should be the other way around. I committed to that a long time ago in the very first campaign I ran, and when I finally got into office in 2020, I was one of the primary sponsors of the Fix Our Democracy Act, which is a number of bipartisan solutions, including independent redistricting, meant to fix the foundational issues in our democracy. Because right now, the way it's built is driving everybody, Democrats and Republicans, to their extremes. And I don't believe that is where a majority of North Carolinians are. We not only worked in that bill on ending gerrymandering, but we worked on making our judges' races nonpartisan again. We were the first state in 100 years to decide that we wanted our judges to have blue or red robes. It made absolutely no sense to me. I want to reform our campaign finance system. That's also what that bill did. But ending gerrymandering and forming independent redistricting commissions where we are truly designing districts that represent our people in the communities, and we don't just go through and arbitrarily divide neighbors based on their political affiliation is not the way to go. We are going to continue that fight. We don't currently have the votes for it in the House, but it is something I am personally passionate about, and you have my word, I will file that bill every single time I am in the legislature until we get this done.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that answer. You're going to have to wear a lot of hats, and you're going to have to know a little bit about everything. You're going to be busy. But I just wanted to know what reforms can be put in place to ensure a fairer criminal justice system. Do you have any ideas on that?
I do. And we have worked on that already in my first term. And what I'm really excited about is I get to campaign on a number of tangible achievements to do that. One thing that we had a few years ago established in Pitt County was a mental health court, the first of its kind in Eastern North Carolina. I think the only other community in Eastern North Carolina that had it was Whiteville, which does us no good, way up here in Greenville or up all the way in Elizabeth City. I was able, through our state budget, working with Republicans, to secure early funding to actually stabilize that program, and then the county agreed to step up to it for the long run. I've also engaged our police department to try to think about doing things differently and emulating a little bit of what we've seen out of our sheriff's office when it comes to crisis response units. My bill in the state was an independent bill, and then it moved into the budget, allocated $990,000 to pilot 3 programs in Greensboro, in Charlotte, and in Greenville. We're going to be a leader in the state on this. We're embedding what is called support team assisted response programs, STAR programs. They're vehicles that instead of traditional police officers deploying to a low-level incident like trespassing or someone having a mental health episode, we actually deployed this unit. It's going to be equipped with a social services worker or a paramedic. And we're going to get the people the services they need, and we're going to allow our uniformed officers to do what they want to do. And they are going to be able to fight crime. So some of those early wins that we've been able to pilot in my first term, the job is far from done. We have got a lot of work to do, and I will work with anyone who's serious about solutions to make it happen. I'm a big believer in youth diversion programs. I actually used to be in the teen court program when I was young in the K-12 schools here. I was a volunteer attorney. Yeah, I mean, those are the things that I believe in, and I believe we've got to innovate. We've got to partner at the local, state, and national government to make it happen, and you have that commitment from me moving forward.
Okay, that sounds real good. Well, Neil, I guess it's time for your closing statement, and you have, I think, what, three minutes?
3 minutes.
But would you include in there, if you thought about it, what would be your first priority, once you become elected?
Right. Well, what I'm really excited about is the record that we have put up to actually show people what we can do when you look for the common threads that bind people. You cast the party politics aside as much as you can in a very partisan atmosphere, and you try to get something done. I pledged that in the 2020 campaign when I ran, that I was going to be stubbornly in the business of trying to build relationships across the aisle and make things happen, defying the odds of so many who say that party politics is the thing that completely controls everything we do. And I think we've got early results to prove it. Like I said, as a member of the minority party in Raleigh, I was able to work with Republican majority and secure $320 million in direct investment for our area. That includes a new $215 million medical school that has not been able to get done before I got there. It's going to grow the class size by 1/3. It's going to help with direct primary care physicians in Eastern North Carolina. We're able to secure $4.5 million for a new commercialization center in Ayden to help first-time farmers and businesses who want to package and can product get it to the market. Like I said about the STAR program, that was an innovative idea that the Republican majority was able to work with me on because, again, I approached them in an authentic, relation-building way. And that's something I really have tried to do. When I first got to Raleigh, I noticed that Republicans and Democrats were doing what I feared. They were not talking to each other. And I took the intentional time to work with these folks, get to know them outside of the halls of the legislature, and build what I think is true consensus relationships. And we have made that happen. So we are just getting started. There's a number of projects I want to do. One thing that is really exciting a lot of people in Eastern North Carolina is the $250,000 study I was able to secure to investigate passenger rail service in Eastern North Carolina. There's no excuse with Greenville having a major university in it that we shouldn't be tapped into the statewide rail system. And we secure the early funding to make that happen. But I'd love to see it happen over time once we get the results of that study. We need to expand Medicaid in North Carolina. Blue states, red states have made that happen. I was this close to getting a deal done the last time around this year, actually. And unfortunately, some party politics got in the way. But I'm a pretty stubborn guy, and we're going to keep working on it because it's going to help stabilize our rural healthcare, our rural hospitals out here. It's going to cover 13,000 more people. It's going to create 500 good-paying jobs and generate $114 million more in economic impact for Pitt County alone. Statewide, it's going to cover 500,000 to 600,000 North Carolinians. That's a big deal, and we've got to make it happen. Like I said, blue states, red states have done it before. And we've learned what works and what doesn't, and we're going to make it happen. So this is a personal fight for me. I kind of, like you said, I wear a lot of different hats on a lot of different issues, but I'm going to hustle each and every day to make my hometown proud. And I'm looking forward to returning in next year.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We know one of the other things that the House of Representatives do along with the Senate is to help fund public schools. And many times there are a number of mandates that don't come with funding. We hope that will be one of the things that representatives will work on in the upcoming years, as well as he mentioned, good paying jobs to be sure that our educators are good paying people as well, who really dig deep into finding that diamond in all these children that we see each and every day. As you may know, or may know by now, that I'm very passionate about children, being that I've been in the child care business for over 12 years in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. So we believe that education starts at birth at the end of the day. Let's move on now to the Pitt County Board of Commissioners, Ms. Mary Perkins Williams.
And also Neil Driver, candidate Faye Hardy-Bordeaux, and Randall Martosha. Okay, is Mr. Neil Driver present? Okay, and we are missing Miss Mary Perkins Williams.
Good evening, Mr. Neil Driver. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Okay, you're going to be busy also. I know there's going to be a lot on the agenda. Could you just name 2 priority items that you would like to see addressed once you first take office?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to thank God for allowing me to be here and do this. And I want to thank Awesome Radio for letting us have a platform to actually be heard. So thank you all. 2 of the things that I find most important here. So I grew up in Johnson County. It's a very rural county. My parents were tobacco farmers. Johnson County is very much like Pitt County. The problem is, I went to ECU. I left here in 1999 and went west back to Raleigh to work. We have 2 incredible facilities here at Pitt Community College where we're sitting at right now. And we have East Carolina University, and we have all these awesome high schools around here. We have tens of thousands of high school and college graduates that upon their graduation day, they leave this county. They leave it. And they don't come back unless it's a football game or to visit family. We've got to figure out a way to work with the county, the municipalities in the county, and all the private sector, because we got some really smart people that live here in this town, in this county. We got to pull our resources together and act as a sled dog team and pull the same way rather than 10 different ways. The hospitals always argue with the towns always argue with the county, the schools always argue with the hospital. It's just a big vicious cycle, and we got to stop that. We got to figure out a way to keep some of those kids here, because it'll lower the tax burden on all of us, okay? And on top of that, the way we keep them here, the second biggest priority is bringing good paying jobs. And like some other people have said, not just white collar jobs, blue collar jobs, trade. We got to educate our kids. They're not all going to go to college. They're not all going to, be welders, but you know what? We'll find a place for them. We don't want them to sit at home and collect a check. We want them to go out and make it happen.
That sounds good. I just want to make sure that we didn't bypass your opening statement. We just kind of rushed into the questions, but I want to give you an opportunity to just really introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your background and your qualifications and what you bring to the table.
Thank you. Again, like I said, my name is Neil Driver. I'm from Johnston County. I went to ECU here. I graduated in '99, moved back west. My wife and my 8-year-old son, we moved back here 5 years ago. And we moved back here because we felt that Greenville and Pitt County shared our values, because we love the small town atmosphere. We love who it is. But who I am, I'm just like everybody sitting out here, everybody listening. I'm one of y'all, and I'm tired of throwing stuff at my TV because I feel like this country has gone upside down. We're all fighting, we're all divided, we're all, pushing and pulling and going the wrong way. I wanted to get up off the sidelines and actually make a difference. Rather than sit here and continue to throw stuff at the TV, let's all figure this thing out. We're Americans. We're all Pitt County residents. We're all North Carolinians. Let's act like that and have some common sense for a change.
That sounds good. Glad to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Okay, I just have one other question. What do you think can be done to attract new businesses to Pitt County that would make it more attractive, say like for students to want to come here or students to stay here and not want to leave?
Good question, and that's a perfect segue on what I was talking earlier. So Chancellor Rogers over at ECU, fine man, you know, the people here at Pitt Community College too, we need to make sure that we have a forum between them and local business leaders to find out, okay, what type of people are we graduating from Pitt? What type of people are we graduating from ECU? What type of people are we graduating from the local high school systems? We need to work with that to actually team up and have an approach to bring in companies, find different ways that don't affect the taxpayers. Because good grief, how many times are they going to say, oh, we'll give them tax incentives? Well, guess whose pocket that comes out of? It comes out of our pockets. Well, let's find like little creative ways to bring them over, like accelerated depreciation, little nuanced things where we can basically say, look, hey, here's an internship program that Pitt and ECU is going to offer for an IT job. You know, here's look at all these trade welders and electricians and plumbers that we're putting in. Let's bring those into the fold to bring residential contractors, commercial contractors to build houses, to expand our city and expand the amenities we have here.
That sounds good. And now we will give you 3 minutes to make a closing statement. No? Oh, another person? Yeah.
And thank you for your response.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my next person was Ms. Faye
Bordeaux.
We're going to ask you to do an opening statement. Tell us about this and why you chose to run for commissioner.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Faye Hardy Bordeaux. I am running for Pitt County Commissioner District 4, which includes Falkland, Fountain, Farmville, Ayden, Belle Arthur, and Winterville West. I am a native Pitt Countian. I am a product of public school system and got my graduate degree, my undergraduate degree at the University of North Carolina and my graduate degree at ECU. I've been working with children and families since 1984. I've been a licensed clinical social worker specializing in mental health services and therapy for children and families since 1991. I have served most of all of my life, even as a child growing up with my parents serving in the community. I want to continue to serve in the community. And I want, in addition to being a licensed clinical social worker, I want to be a member of the Pitt County Board of Commissioners so I can continue to serve in another capacity, making policies and determining funding.
Well, one of my questions to you then is that we know that commissioners get the money and then they distribute the money. What about in your background? That you work with preparing budgets, or what is your financial experience?
Okay. Well, first of all, I ran a business here in Pitt County. And so running a business, you have to have fiduciary experience, knowing how to balance the books. So I have experience that way. Also, I have worked on several committees and several organizations where, in a leadership position, where we had budgets. I was on a board of trustees at a local school here where I was a development chair, raising monies and doing the budget. And also as a mother, a wife, doing the budget at home and making sure that we have the monies to do what we need to do and creating a good budget. So I have experience doing that.
Close to you is, what about your community? Where would you put the emphasis on people are elected? What would be the first project you would have?
The first project that I would do is, and this is in regards to businesses and to commerce, recruit businesses and commerce that present livable wages for the community, but also they're good neighbors, they're good stewards of the environment. So putting in necessary conditions so that we welcome the businesses, we recruit them, but also make sure that the neighborhoods and the communities will receive them and that they are not taken advantage of. That's one of my priorities. Another one of my priorities is to making sure that we give the funding needed for public education, especially when it comes to personnel and when it comes to facilities. We have some schools here in Pitt County that are overcrowded or getting close to being overcrowded. So we need to have facilities that can accommodate our children. Those are two priorities. Another priority of mine, and this is very dear to me, is mental health, mental illness, and substance abuse. There is a mental illness and a substance abuse crisis right here in Pitt County. As a county commissioner, we need to give the appropriate funding to make sure that we get the services and supports for these individuals who suffer from substance abuse and from mental illness. People who suffer from mental illness and substance abuse, yes, they do, but the entire family is affected. And we want to keep those families together. And the way to do that is to make sure that we have services and supports in place for those children and for those families.
My next question is going to be directed to Mr. Randall.
It's Martosha. Should I do a opening statement first?
Yes,
Okay.
And also, tell us what your platform is. What are you doing?
Okay. Yes, my name is Randall Martosha, and I'm running for District 5 County Commissioner. And this is my first time running for office. I teach in the English department at East Carolina University. I've done so for the last 22 years, I think it is now. And I think I have about 7,000 former students out there. So yeah, and I've never run for a public office before. I was actually asked to run by a friend of mine, and his arguments weren't really holding sway until he got into just how as a commissioner, you're in a position to help people in small ways and big ways. And I was at the last meeting, and they spent 30 minutes talking about basically changing some zoning to help one business. I mean, that's how micro it gets, and that definitely appeals to me, just being able to have this opportunity to help, Pitt County residents.
Next question I would have is, what experience do you have in preparing budgets and finance? Because commissioners get the money and they have to fill it out. What area are you covering also? What areas is in District 5?
Oh.
District 4?
Oh, no, I am District 5, yes. That was a misprint. But so yeah, my I guess experience with accounting is pocketbook family accounting. I don't have any experience with running a business or anything like that. But I definitely am keenly aware of how, say, raising taxes, how it affects individuals. I ran some numbers because I'm definitely interested in increasing the pay supplement for teachers. So we have a 7 cents on every $100 ad valorem tax. And I was running some numbers, and I was just like, what if we increased it to 10 cents for every $100? And, and I was just like, those are the kind of decisions that we'd have to make, is how much that would affect, the people whose property value, whose property taxes would go up. And so even though I don't have that kind of practical experience in the field, I definitely know how to use a calculator, and I am definitely concerned about how any of these decisions would affect our citizens.
So if you are elected, where would you put your emphasis for your community? Where would you try to get money to come into your community? Any infrastructure ideas that you have from you? Where would you put it?
Well, as far as the money that can come into the county, we are kind of restricted. We have a portion of the 7% sales tax goes to the county. Then also, of course, there's the property tax. But we are kind of limited in how much or the kinds of ways we can raise money. So, there's as far as like infrastructure, I would be definitely interested in promoting parks and recreational opportunities to draw people here, expand our tax base that way. But yeah, that would be my emphasis.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We will now have 2 minutes for your closing remarks, or 1 minute, I'm sorry. 1 minute for your closing remarks. And we will start with you, sir.
Okay. So yeah, I've probably knocked on something like 700 doors in the past 3 months. And one thing that friend of mine who convinced me to run, he's talked about helping people. And I've already been in a position where we could help people. There was an LBGT person we talked to who just moved to the area, and we have contacts in that community. And we shared those contacts with them, the person I was knocking on doors with. And so I was like, I was definitely responding to that. And I got to a point where I loved, canvassing, which I didn't think I would. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of a predictor of how I'll be on the board, as looking for opportunities to help people. And so I am glad to have that experience with canvassing, because it has, I don't think I've really noticed how the connections between me and my community don't always see that on a day-to-day. They're kind of invisible sometimes, but canvassing has definitely shown those connections. So thank you.
Next, Ms. Bordeaux.
Well, I've been serving my community ever since probably about 5 or 6 years old. My parents were sharecroppers, and we lived in a community where my father was like the man in the community, and he was an organizer, and people came to him for help, and he always helped. And so growing up, we learned to help, and it was an obligation to serve. Again, I've been serving since then. And as a social worker, you serve. That's what you do. You serve. You take care of. You serve. You meet the needs of those individuals, regardless of who they are, regardless of what background they come from. It doesn't matter. If they're on your caseload and you're supposed to help them, then that's what you do. And so I want to continue to serve again, and serve in addition to being a licensed clinical social worker. I want to serve where I'm at the table, where policies are made, and where monies are distributed. And I feel that I can be very effective and efficient in serving in that capacity.
Thank you.
Again, thank y'all for having me. One of the coolest things about doing this is knocking on doors and talking to people. I don't just knock on my party's doors or independents. I knock on every door. And everybody, it seems like they all have this one thing in common. They're so frustrated because it seems like there's no common sense in government. I don't like big government. We, the people, go out there and work really hard to make ends barely meet. So the tax money that we give to our state and local governments, it needs to be spent wisely. We can't even fund our schools. The ways that we're funding our schools right now with supplemental COVID money, that's going to run out. We got to fix that situation. People aren't aware of it. We don't have a tax revenue problem. We have a spending problem. We don't need to go out and pave walking trails to nowhere. We need to make sure the schools are funded, law enforcement's funded, and our roads are paved. That's what government needs to do, and that's what I'm going to do if I'm elected. So thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
We thank them again for expressing their positions to serve us here in Pitt County as Board of Commissioners. And I kept wondering why Mr. Randall looked familiar to me, because he taught me at ECU. I believe that did you assign us a book, Freakonomics? Is that one of your book? Yeah, I still have that book. I still have that book. As a matter of it travels with me. But anyway, as we continue to move on, I do want to recognize the Dean of Pitt Community College, Mr. Rouse, who's here with us on tonight as well. We thank you. We also want to take time to mention that the mayor of Winterville, North Carolina, is here with us as well. Mr. Hines, how are you, sir? As well. Thank you for coming out tonight. And now we want to move to the North Carolina House of Representatives, District 8. If we have Mr. Charles Vincent and Ms. Florstein Brown with us on tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we will now proceed. You will have 1 minute introduction, starting with Ms. Florstein.
Hello, everyone. My name is Glorstein Brown. I am currently serving as Mayor of Bethel. I have been in the political arena for 23 years, 14 years as commissioner, 8 years as mayor. And I grew up, as I always tell everybody, I'm a country girl. I grew up knowing how to dig in the dirt and do whatever I needed to do to survive. My parents taught me how to do that. And that is why I have such a love and a care for serving people, because I do believe in helping people. That was something my mom instilled in me, and my dad, to always help anyone, no matter how they treat you, how they talk to you, no matter what, you do what you can to help people. And I've been carrying that load with me ever since, I don't need to tell my age, but anyway, but that is what I've been doing with my town, working in Bethel. I have been just been a great servant there, and going to continue to move on.
Yes, my name is Drock Vincent. I tell people Charles Vincent is my father, so Drock Vincent is my name. I am a small business owner. I own Heritage Plank Floors in Eden, North Carolina. We take down barns and make wood floors and sell them all over the world. So I'm a manufacturer, which is rare in America. I've graduated from East Carolina in accounting and then was a banker for 10 years. So I've been in the private industry for 26 years now. I'm from Pitt County originally, and I love Pitt County. And I've seen how District 8 has been left behind. District 8 has not received its fair share. And I'm going to use my time that I have with my mature business and my talents to make District 8 absolutely the best place in the world to live. And we've been left behind.
The first one is, how do you support the suicide prevention efforts amongst young girls?
Well, suicide prevention has to start realistically with the economy, the household that someone is brought up in. If we've got a good economy and we've got safe streets, then people have something to look forward to. But right now, we've got unsafe streets, our economy's a wreck. You go to the grocery store, it's now, to buy a bag of chips is almost $5 at Food Line. You feel like you're lucky when you get a 2 for $8 special. That's not the world that I grew up in. That's not the world that most of us grew up in. We were optimistic. People are fighting. You're either a Democrat or a Republican, and there's no in between. The way I see it, if I see some idea, I don't care who brought it up, I'm going to back that idea if it's good, common sense, and good for District 8.
Second question from your audience. What can you offer our low-income communities to prevent and decrease crime?
Well, the biggest program that we can offer is a healthy economy. That gives people the ability to make their own money. That gives people the ability to have personal freedom. They're not waiting on, a government program that is always slow and inefficient. I think that by focusing on lowering inflation, by focusing on, the economy and lower crime, that we will give people hope, and that when you have hope and you've got an education and you've got money in your pocket because you've got a good job, you've got pride, then you're less likely to be committing crimes.
What is your philosophy and how will it support your mission in the General Assembly?
My philosophy is, as I think you can tell, is individual responsibility. That's where it starts out. I don't want anyone to be left behind. We have to take care of the most vulnerable in our society, and I will commit to that, especially our children. However, I don't want to start at a government program. I want to start at individual responsibility. I want to start at doing what we can do to make the economy, lower taxes, lower regulations, more freedom, and so that we can make our own way. Now, if someone falls through the cracks, then there needs to be a safety net there. But, you know, I think that we need to start by trying to give everyone opportunity. I think the blue collar, I'm in construction or manufacturing, but based in the construction industry. We do not focus. We are so underserved by people that are going into the plumbing, into the trades. You could start tomorrow if you were skilled and you didn't have a substance abuse problem and you're dedicated. I was a banker. I've been a business owner. I do understand budgets and all that. If someone would listen to what I say, they would be a millionaire in 25 years, and I'd guarantee that.
That's pretty steep.
We do know that we have a lot of experience working in community. In the District 8, where would you put your focus, and where do you feel that you could be beneficial to this community?
Well, coming from a rural town, and I do know I do serve. I haven't forgotten Greenville, but you know Greenville is full of resources, you know that they're available to. But being in a rural town, I do know that I really want to focus on joining the rest of District 8 in having things to happen the way things are happening in Bethel. And I do know it do not happen overnight, but I need to listen to the people and find out, because one size do not fit all. So I would like to know exactly what in your community, what's important to you. That was what we did in Bethel. We had to figure out what was important, what we needed, and we started there. We got so many programs now. We got childcare. We have Pitt Community College that comes over. We have different ones because we do not have a grocery store. We are considered a food desert. So when people reach out to me, nonprofits, different faith-based, to say, what can we do to come into the community to make sure that your people are being fed, or because we have a lot of senior-based community there. So I know what I'm going through, other communities and towns are going through, because I hear this when I'm at meetings and at the table, and I think that we need to come together, because I believe in teamwork, because teamwork will make the dream work. And I want to see that circle connect, that all of us can say that we have the same thing, we are provided the same things, and whatever I have over here, I want to share to make sure you can get it in your community, because we do all sit at the same table and are suffering from the same things.
What about the style that will make you a good honest person?
Wait a minute, repeat, I'm sorry.
What about your style that will make you a good representative?
I think, because first of all, I am a people person. And I do not meet a stranger. Whether you speak to me or not, whether you like me or not, I will talk with you, I will sit with you. And I know that, and because of the position that I am in as mayor and also serve as a trustee, there are times that I have been to Washington, D.C. There are times I have been to the state legislature and walked the halls and talked to different ones. I can speak to you. It doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican, but when there's an issue on the table with the citizen, it's about working with someone that I can come together with, as long as it's right. Because one thing I always say, I'm not going to be bullied, and I'm no one's puppet. So I'm going to do what is needed for the people, because that other P called politics do not need to be it's not about me. I can't walk up there and walk those halls with my agenda. It's not about me. And so I think me being a servant, knowing that I'm a servant, and I'm very passionate about the people. I love people, and I'm going to continue to love people. And when you have that attitude, I think that will cause you to work better. You'll stay focused on what you're up there for, and not walk the halls and say, oh, it's about what I want and what my buddies want, or anything of that nature. But I am a people person. I love people. I love my community, and that is what I will go to Raleigh to do, is work for the people.
We do know that the medical system here uses a little help. Do you have any opinion with getting Medicaid?
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Say that, go back in, I'm sorry. It's the echo, I'm sorry.
We do know that healthcare is
Yes, ma'am.
You have Medicaid here. Okay. Is that something that you emphasize if you go to the regional?
Yes, ma'am. I'm very passionate about the Medicaid, and I do support it, and I will, once in there, go where Brian is going and hope that I can be at the table to offer my opinions and suggestions because of what I hear from the public, having seniors that are still having trouble with getting medicines and trying to figure out whether they can pay $25 or $30. And I know gas is still going up, and I understand that. But we do have a lot of people that are in need of Medicaid. It does not mean that it have to be a way of life, but we do have some people that are going to be on it. The Bible said, and I'm sorry, but he said the poor you will have with you always. So it's our duty to make sure that our poor are taken care of. And we have a lot of children. We can't let our children suffer because of our opinions or feel like that this. I look at it as being, if we can get it restructured and get it monitored the way that it should be, I think it will benefit and be what people thought it couldn't be. I think it may just got a little out of hand, and once we bring it back together, I know that it will be successful here in North Carolina.
2 minutes.
Okay. I just want to say that, again, I want to say thank you for all of the support and being here. Thank you, Awesome Radio. But again, I am here just to let you know that it's nothing big. I've been serving for 23 years, and the same energy, and I keep saying the same thing, the same energy that I'm using for Bethel and I will use for my district, I will use for Pitt County, I will use for to represent North Carolina. I do believe that there are a lot of things that I can bring to the table, as they say, because if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. So I believe that all of the work that we have done, and I do not like to say I, but I will say I, because Bethel, we are seeing a transition now. We got 195 homes coming into our town, that we have people that have already started buying buildings. The citizens, we have an advocacy committee that now our citizens are beginning to step up and say, this is what I want, and this is how you keep a town growing. You got to get your citizens engaged. And I promise, one promise, that I will work hard and do the best I can. I will make sure in my district that I will reach out to you, because again, I have to know what you need. It's not about me taking my ideas to Raleigh, but it's about me taking your thoughts and let the people hear you up in Raleigh, because a lot of time I feel sometimes that rural towns are left behind, but not anymore. I'm a loud person and I'll make that happen. But one thing I will say, that I am a servant, I am, and the service I will give, and may the work I've done speak for me. Thank you.
Yes, and again, for the radio audience, this is Vincent. I'm running for NC House District 8, and I wanted to thank Awesome Radio for having us today. This has really been a nice forum. I, too, am a people person. I think we might have the two friendliest people running for District 8 in North Carolina, but I've enjoyed meeting Glorstein for sure. And but I want to take my 26 years of business experience, 20 years of self-employed experience, and use those problem-solving skills to solve District 8's problem of being left behind. We have been left behind. And the good news about my candidacy is the Republican Party is in power in Raleigh. That's just the cold, hard fact. The Republican Party draws the budget in Raleigh. That's just the cold, hard fact. So I will have a seat at the table. You'll have you want to talk about being a strong advocate. You should have seen me having to deal with making it through the Great Recession. I would never want to do that again for the rest of my life. I can promise you that. But I'm going to use that same tenacity to improve the small towns in our district. We really have a lot of small towns in our district that have been left behind. And so that's my focus. Again, I will have a seat at the table, and I think people know my family. I'm from here. They know that we do the right thing, and I'm going to continue to do that because I don't want to let that reputation down. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both.
As we move along tonight with the continuation of our forum, we're going to ask for Pitt County Sheriff's race, the next race, and Sheriff Paula Dance, as well as Mr. Garrett Wynn is here. And so we will be make their way on this afternoon as well. I do believe the forum will be rebroadcast as well, so be sure to listen to the radio and/or. Okay.
Greetings. We will open up with a 1-minute intro from both of you, and we'll start with you, Candidate Weaver.
Thank you for allowing me to speak, Awesome Radio, and I want to thank Jesus Christ for allowing me to be here, giving me the power to do this. My name is Gary Weaver. I've been in law enforcement for over 35 years. 2 weeks from now, I'll be married to my lovely wife for 30 years. Tell you about my platform, my 3 main focus: school safety, drugs, opioid deaths, and putting more officers on the street, ladies and gentlemen, and retaining them here in Pitt County. Number 1, school safety. That this is more than putting a school resource officer in a school. It is working with the school board. It is working with county commissioners. It is working with principals at schools to go out and do an evaluation and make sure that we provide safety for each and every one of our children and grandchildren and the teachers and principals that are there. Opioid deaths, fentanyl, they're killing our kids, ladies and gentlemen. Just heard a call go out a while ago of an overdose that come in from EMS. Every day we have to take them to Vita Hospital. We need to work with Vita Hospital. We need to work with ECU.
Hi, I am Paula Dance, and I am your Pitt County Sheriff. I've been a law enforcement officer for over 30 plus years. When I ran in 2018, I made some promises. I had a platform in which I made promises, and I've kept those promises. Since being in office, the first thing that I did was bring in body cameras.
And if you do, that is wrong. You do it from start to finish. Every job, every person is the same, and you treat that person, you treat that case, start to finish, the same. You put it before the district attorney and let them do their job, and if the outcome comes up like that, that is it.
Thank you. What is your greatest accomplishment as a law enforcement officer, candidate Dance?
My greatest accomplishment as a law enforcement officer is becoming the sheriff. That was a great accomplishment, but that was due to hard work. That was due to coming up in an agency where I was a patrol deputy and moving up to sergeant and major crimes investigator and moving up to lieutenant and captain and then major and then becoming the sheriff is my greatest accomplishment. But being the sheriff takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of experience to get there. There are so many different facets of being a sheriff versus other law enforcement professionals. Not to downplay that, but the duties are so much different. We are a constitutional office. There are constitutional statutes that we must adhere to. Another great accomplishment for me are the stellar North Carolina State award-winning programs in our detention center that has been nationally recognized and awarded as well. These are very comprehensive programs, programs that matter. It is also important with our reentry portion in making sure that we are even following after they leave. Recidivism is a national issue, it's a statewide issue, and we want to make sure that we lower our crime rates by not having the same people to continue to come over and over again. Let's give them the tools to make them better people and to be more successful. Lots of accomplishment. I should go on, but I only have 18 seconds, so I'll stop there.
Okay, that's great. You really, Sheriff Dance, you answered one of the questions that I was going to ask you that had to do with repeat offenders in North Carolina detention centers and what could be done about the problem of drug addiction related to them. You kind of alluded to that.
I can talk more about
it.
So, absolutely. When we started these programs in the detention center, we partnered with East Carolina University, who collected the data and who did the studies to see the effectiveness of these programs. These programs work. With the initial information that we've gotten from the university as it relates to these programs, they recognized that the state of North Carolina had a 41% recidivism rate. After looking at our programs and following those programs for the last 3 years, Pitt County has a 31% recidivism rate. That is 10% lower than the state average. And that's important because you're not really having new offenders. Most of the times it is repeat offenders. Many of the people in our detention center have been there over and over and over again, and we continue to open the doors and let them leave and not giving them the tools in their toolbox to do and be better. It's made a difference. It has absolutely made a difference. And there's nothing that says that the sheriff can't just do these programs and enforce the law at the same time. And that's what is happening. It's still accountability. It's still accountability by enforcing the law. But at the same time, it's caring enough to give people the tools to do better. We've had so many success stories that it's been very important to show that these programs are effective.
Okay, thank you.
All right, candidate Weaver. How does your experience with the North Carolina Highway Patrol translate to this position as sheriff of Pitt County?
I was a supervisor with the Highway Patrol. I've also worked at a police department. I worked at a police department before that. I still do work as a police officer right now. And it translates very easy. If you look at some of the best sheriffs in North Carolina, they were former troopers or highway patrolmen. If you look at Craven County next door, just won a national award. In fact, 11 members left this agency to go down there, Pitt County, to go down and work for him because he's a great leader. He just won a national award in drugs. He won one in gangs. That is it right there. A leader is a leader, and I will lead, and people will respect a leader if you respect them. That is what I learned from being in the highway patrol. That is what I learned from my life as a Christian. You respect people, but you have them respect you. As far as taking the lead of the sheriff's department, this is a great agency, or sheriff's office here, this is a great agency. New direction, new leadership. New direction and new leadership of certain things, and that's what I will bring to this agency when I'm elected.
Okay, I think I had one more question for Sheriff Dance. I'm interested in community relationships with law enforcement. So what could be done to improve the relationship between the community and law enforcement? And could you address maybe partnerships between the community and law enforcement?
Absolutely. The relationship is very important with law enforcement and the community. We have to rebuild that bridge of trust in order for us to continue to effectively do our jobs. We have a community impact unit that stays involved with events in the community. We're there, we're participating at all times. We have a Citizens Academy. We've just started a Teen Academy where people come into for 6 or 7 weeks and learn exactly what it is we do, why we do what we do, and how we do what we do. One of the biggest bridge builders when I took office was having those body cameras. We have nothing to hide. That is transparency. People want to know that they can trust the officers who are in the community and working for them. It's that communication with the community, having an open door with the community to come in and to talk about issues. We participate in neighborhood watches, specifically before COVID. We did a whole lot more of that at that time. So we're always engaging with the community because it is our community. It is not law enforcement's community. It is our community. We live, eat, sleep, and play in this community. And I'd like to say that Pitt County Sheriff's Office raises such great officers with the training that we give them that, quite frankly, a lot of agencies would love to have our officers come there to work. So we train a lot and make sure that we are providing the services as best as we can on an everyday basis.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Candidate Weaver, how does politics relate to law enforcement, and how would it influence you enforcing the law throughout Pitt County, culturally equal among the citizens here?
Well, first of all, that's a great question. I think the sheriff's race should be nonpartisan. I think the district attorney's race should be nonpartisan. Politics should not play a part in it. You take the Constitution of North Carolina, you take the laws, Constitution of the United States, it should be enforced all the way across the board equally to everyone, regardless of their race, color, sex, gender, nationality, or anything. That's what it should be done, and I will do that. Politics has no part and will not be a part of my administration.
Well, thank you both. We are going to entertain closing remarks from you two. We have the afforded time. I would like to give you both 3 minutes, closing remarks. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. We will proceed with you, Candidate Dance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Again, I am Sheriff Paula Dance, and I am your Pitt County Sheriff. I have put in a lot of investment and work into becoming the sheriff. The experience matters. Experience matters. I was able to hit the ground running, and that's why we were able to accomplish so much within the last 4 years or as sheriff, because it's important. Being a part of the administration prior to afforded me the ability to hit the ground running, to continue to keep this office going, and while keeping the community safe at the same time. Never missed a beat. I want to continue to provide services while enforcing the law, to provide services to people that find themselves incarcerated inside of our detention center. It is important for continuity, to not have disruption so often. We've again taken hundreds of guns, illegal guns, off from the street. We've removed drugs from the street. We've done a lot as a sheriff's office. I've placed a great team of experienced people around me, people who have been at their office for many years, who have worked to earn positions. These are the people that I placed around me. I want people a great leader knows to put people around them that knows more than they know, so that they don't fail. We hold each other up. I continue to, there are many other things that I would like to accomplish. That's why I am running again for another term to get those things accomplished. I will close a little bit early in just saying to you all and asking you this one question that I ask every single time. Will you dance with me? I ask you for your vote, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Gary Weaver, and yes, I'm running for Pitt County Sheriff, as we all know. My platform, one of the most important things is our kids, safety, grandkids, safety at schools, all schools, drugs. Drugs are running rampant, ladies and gentlemen. Overdoses. Everybody in here has probably been affected or knows someone that has had a fentanyl or a heroin overdose or death in their family right here in Pitt County. Patrol officers, putting more patrol officers on the streets, one of my things. My drugs will do that by two ways: in enforcing a strict policy of arresting drug dealers and putting them in jail or prison. But that's a two-pronged approach. We need to get the help to the people that need it. I will work with VITA, I will work with the General Assembly, I will work with East Carolina University in doing that, setting up a program. And one of the most important things that I think we miss is we're always reactive and not proactive, and find out why. Why are they breaking the law, and why are they doing drugs? That's what we need to set up and find out before. If we can stop it before it happens, we can stop it. That's what we must do, is look forward and go to be progressive, not reactive. That is one thing I would do. Patrol officers. One thing I promise you I will do, and I don't know why nobody in law enforcement or anywhere in the United States does it. I will meet every month with community leaders and Christian faith-based leaders to find out what they need in their community. And I mean in the communities. I mean, when is the last time that somebody's been out to Belvoir and sat down and said, what do y'all need? What is the greatest concern that you have in Belvoir? Let's do that. Let's go to Grifton. Let's go out to these communities, to these community fire departments, and ask them. They're local leaders. They're looked up to, political leaders, Christian leaders. We need to go to church and find out, what do you see that we need to work on to help you to keep citizens of Pitt County safe? That's what we need to do. That is another thing. Another thing that I will look at doing is setting up a program. How many of you have elderly people that get preyed on? They phone call, they steal money from them, they do things like that. Well, we need to start looking at that. This is 2022, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody in here has got a smartphone. Everybody, half of them are taking pictures of me right now and on it. We need to do better at protecting our elderly people to where they're getting stolen money like that. School systems, I'll go back to it my last time. I will work with the Board of Education. I'll work with the Board of Commissioners. I'll work with the principals. I will go out and we will keep our kids safe. And that's more than just putting an SRO officer in that school and saying that school's safe. We need to work. My name is Gary Weaver. New direction, new leadership. I ask for your support in November. Gary Weaver, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both.
We thank you all. We thank each other, Sheriff Candace and Sheriff Dance for coming out tonight, and many of you for coming out as candidates and as coming out as members of the Pitt County community. Recognizing that early voting will start on Thursday, October the 20th, and will end on Saturday, November the 5th. Election day is on November the 8th. One thing we must always remember is that not one seat belongs to anybody. The seat belongs to the people. And as long as the individuals who are holding those seats are representing the people, I believe we'll have great service in our communities. That is important for us to remember. I want to thank our moderators on tonight for taking their time out and asking the questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our timekeeper as well for being sure that we're in time.
Good job. Good job.
And everyone who took part in making this a great event. Remember, you can go to www.awesomeradio.org and check out when it will be re-airing to tell people throughout the community, so that way you're not repeating the same things over and over again. They can go hear for themselves straight out of everyone's mouths right there on Awesome Radio. So again, we certainly appreciate what Awesome Radio is doing, and take care of each other, and certainly take care of our community. Good night.